Good morning. In a few moments I'll be getting on my Riker and heading west. Today is the first day of my quest to complete the coast of the UK, which Andy and I started a couple of years ago now. Today I'm going to go to Cambridge to a cafe where Virginia Woolf did some of her writing, and then I'll be heading over to Worcester. But I'm going to take quite a scenic route through Thetford and on the 1066, which I really like. It's one of my favourite roads. I have a new gadget. So you're going to be coming for a ride with me on my chinny chin chin. So we shall see how that goes. I just wanted to say thank you again to Penny for yet another coffee. Thank you, thank you, thank you. But also for today's topic as well, which is survival mode in recovery. And I've had to actually do a little bit of research on this one. So any articles that I've looked at, I will tag the link in the description below. Anyway, let's get riding. When your neighbours come out to wave you off. I'm going to start today with what is the survival mode. So it's in response to trauma, physical injury or illness, burnout. It's literally when our clever body just puts us into survival mode through the flight, fight, freeze or fawn response, which was a new one to me. So the fight is when we get aggressive and fight with everything. The flight is when we run away. The freeze is when we can't do anything, we stop. And fawn is something that I'm very good at, which is quickly trying to make everything alright so it doesn't cause a scene. One thing that I was really interested to learn a few years ago as well is that our amygdala, that clever bit in our brain that is our fire alarm that sees danger when sometimes there isn't a danger, and it goes fire, fire, and it sprinkles all the adrenaline through our body to cause that response. But interestingly, that is also the area of our brain that is responsible for pain and feeling pain and the pain response. So it kind of goes hand in hand as to why pain and anxiety and illness can all be linked. I'm just gonna look at this beautiful, beautiful haircut cottage. Love it. That roof looks like it's in a state of survival. I just have to make a quick stop here in the little market town of Harleston to go to the post office. I've actually got myself well equipped with an armoured waterproof jacket, armoured waterproof trousers, so I'm not taking lots of silly stuff with me. And I will do thermal gloves, but they're too small, so I'm going to send them back and hopefully stop off at J&S a little bit later and get some different ones. This is a thriving market town, apart from the market. That's all that's left. But as I ride out of Harleston, I want to talk about Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Again, I'll put a link to more details in this, or you can read about it in my book. And the basic lower level that we have to have first is things such as food, water, shelter, and then safety as well, things to keep ourselves safe. And then it moves up to love. And in survival mode, we're right down there at the bottom level of just trying to keep ourselves nourished and fed and watered and get our sleep and our rest. But even that can go completely awry and completely out of the window. 20 minutes into my journey, I'm stuck in a traffic jam already just coming into this. When we're in survival mode, we're not even meeting our foundations of Maslow's hierarchy of need. And what strikes me is that when we are in the height of addiction also, we are in survival mode. Just going through the paces. Again, sometimes not eating, not drinking, definitely not sleeping properly. So addiction also puts us into survival mode. Just coming into Norfolk, Nelson's County. I've been in and out of Norfolk and Suffolk. This is the River Waveney, I take it. If we're north of the River Waveney, we're in Norfolk. If we're south, we're in Suffolk. Bressingham Museum and Gardens. If we take you in, it's a lovely little place to come. My phone's telling me, proceed to the route, proceed to the route. So I'm going to head out on the 1066, which goes from Diss into the heart of the Thetford forest. My sat-nav also keeps telling me you could save 21 minutes by going on the A14. But why would I want to do that? Oh, there's no entry this way. I've got to go out through the garden centre. So the A1066, beautiful road surfaces, runs from Diss and takes you right into the heart of Thetford forest. Although I will be turning left rather than right up into the forest today. And lovely little towns and villages, and just a road that Andy and I used to love riding together, and I continue to ride it whenever I can. Little bike there. Oh look, I've gone wrong. It's not like me to go wrong, is it? Lived there. He was a poet and a soldier, 1887 to 1915. Lived and wrote at the Orchard. Oh, I've got to pay. Oh, I can get a 3-hour parking permit on the touch screen. That's alright then. The Grantchester group formed when Rupert Brooke moved to Orchard House. Included Bertrand Russell, E.M. Forster, Maynard Keynes, Ludwig Wittgenstein, Virginia Woolf and August John. You all spent time here. I've just had a lovely lunch with one of my bridesmaids who I've seen for at least 5 years, I think. And that was really nice. Now I'm heading off to J&S to get my gloves. Mostly on the A14, but it will get me there quickly. Well, I got on the A14 and I suddenly realised I didn't have any fuel. So I put petrol stations near me and my phone, and off it took me on the A1 to some BP garage, which was completely invisible. Then took me back onto the A14 and then turned me back round onto the A1. I've managed to come off at Huntington now and found a Shell garage, thank goodness, and filled up my new fuel bottle that actually fits in the spout, so that's good. Just waiting for the little girls' room and then I can be on my way. I'm running a bit behind time now, but that's fine. Now heading back on the So what is recovery? I guess the best place to start is to describe what it isn't. And it's not about getting fully better. It's not about getting back to our old self or how we used to be. Recovery is about living the best we can with each day and in each moment, given our current situation, our environment, our physical being, our mental health, and spiritual being even. It's about doing the best we can each day to get through. Some days that may be that we can get out for a great big long walk. Other days it might be that we just manage to get out of bed. And that really is okay. It is about pacing ourselves and doing what we can when we can. Sometimes we may have to find different ways to do things. I have a maintenance plan that tells me or gives me ideas, a baseline, if you like, of a sleep routine, when to go to bed, when to get up, to get outside in the fresh air, to do something I've been putting off, not drink alcohol, eat healthily, and drink plenty of fluids, amongst other things. And if I don't do that, then that's okay. It's not about beating myself up each day. The other thing that's on there is to live in the now and to stay curious. Although diagnoses can be really helpful to give us some idea of what's going on and what we can do to move forwards, sometimes we can get stuck on prognoses and outcomes and read about all the bad things that happen in these situations. I think it's good to go with the symptoms of how we're actually feeling and listen to our own body. And some days that might be to be in survival mode. Some days that is all we can manage, and that's okay, as long as we don't unpack and stay there. Sometimes it can be really, really hard to motivate ourselves, especially if we have chronic illnesses, and we can get stuck in ruts and stuck in hibernation mode. One of the things that I try to use for myself when I get like that is, it could be something simple like, I really want a cup of tea, but I can't be bothered to go and make one. And I say to myself, Karina, if Jack wanted a cup of tea, or if Andy wanted a cup of tea, or Arthur, you'd get up and go and make it. And I use that to motivate myself and kick myself up the butt to get on and get sorted. It's also helpful to have other people on board as well. If we're fortunate to have people around, we can be the best people at pushing other people away, but if there are people there to help, then that can help motivate us if we share stuff with them and they understand us. Focusing on our self-care can be a really good way to motivate and push us forward. And I'm not talking about pampering days, I'm talking about eating when we're hungry, having a drink when we're thirsty, going to the loo when we need to go to the loo, and having a rest when we're tired. Here we are. Let's go and see if I can have some self-care and get myself, I'll come to the car park over there, get myself some thermal gloves, although my hands aren't too bad today. Okay, let's have a little look-see. Ooh, just a few gloves to choose from. I have new gloves. £60, but I'm very happy because they're waterproof, they're thermal, and it's all man-made fibres. Most of them have leather or goat skin or wool. These ones don't, so I've got vegan gloves. Well done, Alpine Stars. Another nice little town called Little Harrowden. I do love old buildings, and I know some of you do as well. Hi, Julia. Oh, an old telephone box look. If you've been Following my vlogs for a while, you'll know that I love telephone boxes because we didn't have mobile phones when I was a kid. We just had our 2p and the big red telephone box. Some of them are still telephone boxes, but the minimum charge is 60p nowadays. Others of them have books in and defibrillators, and there's one in Scotland that I quite want to go and find that does cakes. The village bakes cakes and then sells them. But I have got 8 of my books with me because what I'm going to do is that I'm going to deposit them randomly around Scotland in phone boxes for people to take away and read. And then each day I do it, I'll post a little clue as to where it is. Just a little bit of fun and hopefully helping others at the same time. They want me to do that because it will make such a screech. We're now at a little place called Napton on the Hill. King's Head looks very quirky. Sometimes that seems like the simpler, easier option. Because to get well and get better and get active means being responsible and taking on responsibility, and that can be really hard. I have to admit, when I take a day or two off from vlogging, it's really difficult to get myself back in the mode again. But also in doing this, it does help me with my motivation. Now, in Warwickshire, there's Warwick Castle. I've got to try and get across here now. Ragdale Hall soon, and I've just seen a notice to say Think Bike Motorbike Festival from the 27th to 30th of June. Riding along going, I'm bored, and then reminding myself to look at the trees, look at the clouds, smell the grass, and just be grateful that I'm alive. Riding along in the English countryside. Oh, proper old travellers there. Wow, okay. We're just now coming into Worcester, in England, in case you didn't know, and coming to the end of today's Ride Along with Karina. Did you like that? You can sing along with Karina as well if you want. I do like a good sing in my helmet from time to time, but I'm not going to subject your ears to that because I'm tone deaf. But that's okay, because I am perfect at being me, and you are perfect at being you, and we don't need to change for anyone other than for ourselves, if we choose to do so. An important thing to remember is that nothing stays the same forever. No situation, no environment, no feeling, no emotion, no physical way of being. It all has to change. But there are things that we can bring to the table, and if we can just accept ourselves for what we are, warts and all, and go with the flow and fully embrace ourselves and the fundamental elements of our being, then it really does help towards a better recovery. And life in general, because when we resist, it just keeps us stuck for longer. And remember Brené Brown's saying, belonging is being our authentic self, not changing to please others. I also like Eckhart Tolle's quote, the sun is always shining, we just can't always see it. If nothing else today, be kind to yourself, be patient and go with the flow. I'm going to leave the last words today to my good friend Paula. I'm going to ask her to read Dandelions from my book. So I will say, ta-ta for now.
Down below. You're going to say
Right.
Dandelions. There was a man, I'm going to call him Arthur, who loved his lawn. He wanted to have the greenest, most wonderful lawn in town. Arthur spent hours planting and watering and weeding it, and all his neighbours complimented him on it. But one day he found a few dandelions in it. He pulled them up, but a few days later they came back again. He sprayed them with weed killer the shopkeeper had recommended. This worked for a few days, but eventually the dandelions were back again. Arthur was not happy. He talked to his neighbours, who recommended a different type of grass, which was denser and more dandelion resistant. Arthur replaced his lawn at great expense and was happy for a while, but then the dandelions came back and he became frustrated and angry. He started to blame others and got all his neighbours to replace their lawns with dandelion-resistant grass too. This still didn't work. Finally, he wrote to the Department of Agriculture for some expert guidance, and a few weeks later he had their response. After much discussion and debate, we have decided that the answer to your problem is easy. You must simply learn to love the dandelions.